Hey there, scientists! Welcome to today's Explainer. We are absolutely unlocking the secrets of the physical world around us today by looking at something we literally experience every single second of every day, but, we rarely stop to actually think about it. We're talking all about forces. So let's dive right in and completely demystify these invisible rules that govern how everything moves and interacts. But hey, before we get into the heavy science, I want you to put on your scientist hats and ponder this cosmic question for a second. If you travel to the moon, do you actually lose weight, or do you just lose gravity? Have you ever seen that classic footage of astronauts just bounding across the lunar surface, looking as light as a feather? Did their bodies magically shrink, or is there some bigger invisible force at play there? Keep that question locked in your mind because we're going to solve it. To answer that awesome space question, here's our game plan for today. 1. The invisible pushes and pulls. 2. The battle of balanced forces. 3. The big mass misunderstanding. And finally, 4. Gravity and moon trips. Okay, let's kick things off with Section 1, the invisible pushes and pulls. This is all about how objects actually interact with each other. So at its most basic level, a force is really simply just a push or a pull acting on an object. Ever tried to push a super heavy shopping cart? Yeah, that's a force. Now, these interactions basically happen in one of two ways. On the left side here, we have contact forces. This is when two objects absolutely must physically touch for the force to happen. Think about, kicking a football or shoving that heavy cart. But over on the right, it gets kind of mysterious with non-contact forces. These actually act at a distance. You don't need to be touching the earth for gravity to pull you right back down after you jump, right? That is a non-contact force in action. Now, since we obviously can't physically see a push floating in the air, scientists use something called force diagram arrows to measure and study them. And to draw them correctly, you've got to follow 4 golden rules. First, the direction the arrow points tells you exactly where the force is going. Second, the length is super important. A longer arrow always means a much stronger force. Third, the flat base of the arrow shows the exact starting point of that interaction. And finally, every good scientist knows you absolutely must label your arrow with the name of the force and the objects involved, like, say, support force of the table on the cat. All right, moving right along to Section 2, the battle of balanced forces. This is the secret to staying completely still. So, balanced forces happen when two forces of the exact same strength are acting in completely opposite directions. The absolutely crucial thing to remember here is that balanced forces do not change the motion of an object. If an object is resting on a table, the downward pull of gravity and the upward support of the table are perfectly balanced, so it just stays perfectly still. But okay, here's the really tricky part. If an object is already moving and the forces acting on it become perfectly balanced, it will actually just keep moving at the exact same steady speed and in the exact same direction. Crazy, right? Picture a super fierce tug of war. Both sides are sweating, they're pulling with absolutely all their might. Huge, massive forces are at work. But because the pull from the left is perfectly matched by the pull from the right, the overall motion is just 0. The rope doesn't move a single inch. And that right there is perfect balance, even with those incredibly powerful forces acting on the rope. Now, to actually make things happen, you need unbalanced forces. When the force acting in one direction is suddenly greater than the force in the exact opposite direction, the object's motion is totally forced to change. Unbalanced forces are basically the ultimate rule breakers of stillness. They are exactly what causes any object to speed up, slow down, or change its direction entirely. This means if an object's speed or direction is changing, you know for an absolute fact that the forces acting on it are unbalanced. Let's go back to our tug of war. If the team on the left gets a sudden burst of energy and pulls with a stronger force, while the arrow on their side gets longer, the forces are no longer equal. The balance is totally broken, and the rope, along with the losing team, accelerates right to the left. Okay, now that we've totally mastered the rules of motion and balanced forces, we're crossing into the second half of our explainer to tackle a massive misconception. Take a look at this question. Are mass and weight the exact same thing? I mean, in everyday life, people use these two words like they mean the exact same thing all the time. But to a physicist? Oh no, they are completely, wildly different concepts. Which brings us to Section 3, the big mass misunderstanding. We're going to be separating the stuff from the pull. All right, so mass is the actual physical stuff that you are made of. It's literally a measure of the amount of matter inside an object. We measure mass in kilograms or grams, and honestly, unless you lose a piece of your body, your mass never, ever changes, no matter where you are in the entire universe. Weight, on the other hand, is entirely different. Weight is a downward force. It happens when two masses interact and attract each other, which, as you know, we call gravity. Weight is the actual force experienced by your mass being pulled down by a planet. Because it's a force, we measure weight in newtons, and it absolutely changes based on your exact location. Check out this massive number, 5.7 quadrillion tons. That is the total mass of Earth's invisible atmosphere. We actually often forget that gases are made of matter too, which means they have mass. To put that into perspective, that number is equal to about 570 trillion adult Indian elephants. Even though we can't see the air around us, it is completely filled with particles. It has mass, and gravity is pulling down on every bit of it.
And now, our final stop, Section 4, Gravity and Moon Trips. Let's look at why your weight actually changes in space.
Let's finally answer that big space question from the beginning. Look at the astronaut in the very first row of our table here. Her mass is 60 kilograms. On Earth, that mass stays 60 kilograms, and on the Moon, it stays 60 kilograms. The amount of actual stuff making up her body is totally identical. But look at her weight. On Earth, gravity pulls on her with 600 newtons of force. But because the Moon is much smaller than Earth, its gravitational pull is only about 1/6 as strong. So on the Moon, her weight absolutely plummets to just 100 newtons. See? You don't lose mass in space, you just experience a way weaker gravitational pull. To figure this out for yourself, you really just need a simple bit of math. Remember, gravity is that non-contact force caused by masses interacting. Since Earth is a wonderfully huge mass, it pulls down with a gravitational attraction of about 10 newtons for every single kilogram of mass. So, if you know your mass in kilograms, you literally just multiply it by 10, and boom, you'll find your exact weight in newtons here on Earth. But hey, gravity doesn't always win the battle of forces. When you put an object in water, a totally new force enters the ring. This is called upthrust. Upthrust is the incredible upward force that pushes back against the downward pull of gravity whenever an object is placed in any liquid. It's the exact reason you feel so much lighter when you're swimming around in a pool. So floating and sinking is really just another epic battle of balanced and unbalanced forces. Upthrust is fighting upward, while weight is pulling downward. If the downward weight is greater than the upward push of the water, well, the forces are unbalanced in the downward direction, and the object just sinks straight to the bottom. But if they are perfectly balanced, the object floats happily right on the surface. I'm going to leave you with this fantastic puzzle to think about the next time you see one of those massive metal cargo ships floating effortlessly in the ocean. If heavy metal naturally sinks, how could you change the shape of a metal boat's hull to increase its upthrust force and make it float? How does manipulating the surface area totally change those invisible forces? Use what you've learned today about pushes, pulls, and balanced forces to figure it out. Keep asking questions, keep thinking like scientists, and thanks so much for joining me for this explainer.